Hey kids!
Hi everyone.
Hello. So it's that time again. It's Sunday. Or Saturday, depending on the weekend.
Sunday.
But today it is Sunday.
And we had we went the public route for suggestions and asked some friends, and we had two good ones, actually three good ones as of last night.
Yeah.
But today the suggestion that we got via Facebook was 80s cartoons, and we just both were like,
Or
yes.
like cartoons in general.
Well,
Yeah.
we're going to cover all cartoons, I mean, as much as one can, just our favorites in the roughly 45 minutes that we do, because you know what? 80s cartoons fucking suck.
They kind of did.
They blew,
They kind of
okay?
did.
I got, as a 12-year-old, I got preached to enough by fucking teachers, parents, neighbors, nuns, priests. I didn't want to turn on He-Man and watch him fuck up Skeletor, only to have there be a goddamn lesson at the end. Okay, and the other reason.
His Page Boy haircut was very trendy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have the power. Well, that was about as much of a a lesson in do-gooding as you could get from a mostly naked man. So, with Page Boy haircut.
This isn't a topic I've explored greatly. My brother and I got into the action figures, which always used to come with a little comic book, which were totally badass.
Comic book?
Yeah, a real little one, like the size of my hand.
The He-Man ones did?
Yeah. The original He-Man toys, the action figures, came with a comic book that was about yay big, like maybe 16 pages long. Okay, and it was fucking cool. It was fun, and I was a D&D nerd, so that was right up my alley. And then they came out with that lame ass fucking cartoon, with their lesson at the end, and that's everything in the 80s had a lesson at the end. Okay, I used to watch G.I. Joe because my brother played with G.I. Joes. All right, and as an 11-year-old, I did not have to be an experienced fucking combat veteran to know that when rounds are flying down range, such that it looks like horizontal rain, okay, and some dipshit is standing there like this, that he should be getting shot. And as an 11-year-old, I was sitting there at the TV screaming, "This is fucking bullshit!" And so 80s cartoons suck.
Well, now you know, and knowing's half the battle.
Smurfs was fun. The Smurfs.
Smurfs was fun.
So my brother and I would get up at like 6:30 on a Saturday morning to watch the Smurfs and the Gummy Bears.
I never watched the Gummy Bears.
That's because you're stupid.
That's because you're stupid. And then they started doing cartoons off of
Products.
Off of Atari games like Hubert.
Oh yeah, Donkey
Pac-Man.
Kong.
Yeah, they all had their own games.
And there was like a My Little Pony
that
or
wasn't
whatever it is.
Well, there was My Little Pony, but that wasn't it. And then there was also the oh god, what were those little dolls that smelled like strawberry shortcake and stuff?
Strawberry shortcake.
Well, there was strawberry shortcake, but there was what was the collection called? Do you know what I'm talking about? Well, maybe it was just strawberry shortcake, but there was a show based on strawberry shortcake.
Called Strawberry Shortcake?
Probably, I don't remember. And whatever, wise ass. And then there was the My Little Pony show. I never watched any of those.
When Ryan went to college at first at NAU, Northern Arizona, he got back to me and he said that I remember looking at like a message board in the dorms and the plethora of groups and things that were available to kids starting off in college, and I was amazed. It actually made me envious. There was all kinds of shit. I don't remember any of them specifically. And then he kind of locked in on that, and he got back to me several months into his first semester, and he said he made reference to the Bronies. Have you heard of this?
I know all about the Bronies, yes.
Bronies are a group of dudes that sit around and watch My Little Pony.
Well, they're not just, they don't just watch it. They're like super into My Little Pony.
I wouldn't know, okay? I was utterly baffled by this. So of course my son, the smartest that he is, you've probably seen it because it's a little.
I've seen you got the Brony shirt.
I have a little My Little Pony shirt, which it got old. I wore it. I wore that motherfucker. I don't care. My kids could get me a fucking T-shirt that's got a dick on it. And
God, please. Okay, Corinne and Ryan, if you're listening to this, please get him a T-shirt with a dick on it, like a 3D one.
I've never thrown away any of my children's art. I have it all. I kept it all. I can't do that. I don't know why. I just can't do that. And the same thing if they give me a gift. So Ryan got me this My Little Ponies T-shirt, but it got old after wearing it for some time, and now it's a workout shirt. And I love like it being heavy deadlift day or something, okay? And I got a My Little Pony shirt on, or hoisting Atlas stones with a My Little Pony shirt on. It's fucking badass. Yeah, I was a Marine. I'll kill you. These are My Little Ponies. Fuck you.
Little Pony 1 and Little Pony 2. Yeah.
But the 80s suck. 80s cartoons suck. What was your all-time absolute number one favorite cartoon?
Well, I mean...
Number one, you're on a stranded island.
It's gotta be the Warner Brothers cartoons, because that's what I grew up on, you know, Bugs Bunny and all that. That was my jam, yo.
So who? Was it Bugs Bunny? Was it Daffy Duck?
Oh,
Was it, I'll say, boy.
I loved all of them, really. I do have a favorite.
Who? Little Martian guy?
Oh, god damn, I can't remember his name right now.
Because you're a loser.
Why don't you shut up? Oh, god. Oh, this is, you know, if you hadn't asked me, I would have remembered. It's the big bulldog with the little kitten.
Oh, I know
that makes like a little nest on his back.
Sure
That's my favorite.
Yeah, I don't know what his name was.
He has a name.
It wasn't Spike, was it?
It wasn't. It was
because
like
Spike was the dog in Tom and Jerry.
Yeah, it was a classy name because he comes from like a classy like household. But I can't remember.
Mortimer.
Yes, it's Mortimer.
He's like classy.
I can't remember his name. And then I want to say it starts with a P.
Poindexter.
Damn it! It's like Percival. The big hairy orange guy who, like, when you shave him, he's just gone.
Poseidon.
You're not helpful even a little bit. I don't even know why I speak.
That was your favorite dude?
No, him. The big hairy dude was my other favorite. Where you shave him and he's gone. I can't remember the names of them. My brain is just not working this morning. And then the bulldog with the little kitten. Doesn't matter. It's Sunday. The whole day is morning. What was yours favorite?
Absolute favorite of all time, Tom and Jerry. But this is critical, okay? Because my brother Jamie and I are Tom and Jerry aficionados, if you will. Yes.
Oh my.
It has to be Tom and Jerry between 1938 and 1955, back when they were still appearing as shorts at the old style theaters. You know, a short film or cartoon, newsreel, and then the main feature. And that era. It was produced by Fred Quimby.
Yes.
Directed by Hanna-Barbera.
Yes.
It was the same animation team, 4 guys. Irving Spence, Ed Barge, something Muse was his last name, and a 4th guy, I can't remember, but it was almost always the same 4 guys. But the real genius of the early Tom and Jerry's was the musical director, Scott Bradley. He was a conductor and a musical aficionado, and he could make sound effects he had a full orchestra, okay? If you watch any of the early Tom and Jerry's, there's a full orchestra playing, and 90% of the sound effects from one of them two getting fucked up was from a musical instrument. So like when the windowsill, when Tom is chasing Jerry, and he runs through a window and then pulls the little stand out or whatever, and the window comes down, and Tom gets his head fucking caught in the windowsill, and his tongue rolls out like 3 feet. It's like a clarinet playing.
Well, Warner Brothers did the same thing.
Did they?
Yeah.
But it wasn't Scott Bradley.
I don't know. What it was.
Well, like this is one of the things that I came to appreciate as I got older, and not just that, but Scott Bradley would very often rely upon classical chamber music or very popular jazz songs. So like, you know, the Is You Is or Is You Ain't My Baby, that was in the one where he was always trying to, oh, it wasn't always, but Tom was often trying to woo this like little foxy kitten chick, right? And that's where I became acquainted with the old band leader, Louis Jordan. You know, my exposure to composers like Chopin, Vivaldi, Rossini, okay, was first through Scott Bradley. He would use these there was one where Jerry, I forget the name of it, Jerry really wanted to go ice skating. And so he overflowed all the sinks and then pulled these 2 plugs out of the fridge and just threw them into the flooded floor, the kitchen floor, and it froze everything. And as a kid, I thought, well, fuck, that's how it works.
Let's do that.
I'm lucky I didn't try it.
Nobody would be allowed to do that today.
Yeah, but they froze it over and then turned a spotlight on by sending a plate of Jell-O spinning around with a light behind it, and it created
I remember that one.
A colorful panorama. And I think they were playing Rachmaninoff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no! Or maybe it was Hungarian Rhapsody by Franz Liszt. Anyway, I forget what it was, and it was a waltz. Anyway, I digress. And then they, at first it's a lovely skating routine, but then Tom gets woken up by all the racket and the music and hilarity ensues. But we loved it. Tom and Jerry, it was nothing except one animal fucking up another one, and it was heavenly.
Well, my entire introduction to my favorite opera, which is the Barber of Seville, was the Rabbit of Seville.
So Rossini, right?
Yeah, and the Rabbit of Seville, and we were just listening to it in the car today, and I was just singing along with the lyrics from the Rabbit of Seville because I can't hear that song without being kill the rabbit. Well, that's not the.
Yeah, for you and I both, that's how we were. I can't speak for you. That is how I was introduced to classical music.
Yeah.
And and it's interesting you bring that up because kind of tangential to the whole Tom and Jerry thing. During that same era, maybe about 1940 through about the maybe late 50s, there was an independent director by the name of Tex Avery, who has produced and directed the absolute most offensive cartoons ever. Okay, and in one of them, the Magical Maestro.
Oh, the piano one.
Yeah, no, not the piano one.
That's not the piano one?
No, it's the one where a magician tries selling his wares or services to a concert hall, and the conductor will hear none of it. So he gets pissed off. Actually, I think it's the main opera singer that he tries selling his magical act to, and he gets brushed off, so he, boom, knocks the fucking conductor out and gets in there with his magic wand and starts doing, and he's singing Rossini's Barber of Seville, the Largo al Factotum, and he keeps fucking him up with his magical wand. And in one instance, there's all these little rabbits out of his magical hat. They come and take the cymbal off a set of drums and smash it over his head, and crunches them, and then the cymbal becomes the rice hat. And the dog starts doing, the opera singer starts doing this little ching chang, song. It's utterly offensive, really. And I'm completely politically incorrect for enjoying it, but it was some of the best shit. And one of the other ones he did was this is Tex Avery, the oldest the oldest bad man in Texas, and it's a cowboy cartoon, except they're all on dinosaurs, and it was fucking brilliant. And then another classic one, because I always chase you around going girls, 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 was the Little Red Riding Hood one, where the sophisticated fox from the city, he was a fox, right? No, wolf. Wolf comes from the city, and he's going to culture up his uneducated fucking Billy Bob wolf cousin from the country.
That guy was the one lump or two wolf, right? One lump or two.
It was the same dude, but I don't remember if it was the same cartoon. And then Red Riding Hood was a human, but she was in a little burlesque outfit, the country wolf. He loses his fucking mind. His partner his cousin tries to cover his eyes like this, and his eyes shoot out.
And he laughed like this. He laughed like this.
Yeah. But then his sophisticated cousin can't stand it anymore, and drives him back to the country in this 50-foot stretch limo, and as soon as he gets back, he sees his country wolf's girlfriend, who's just this fucking toothless bumpkin, and he loses his fucking mind. It's hilarious. Tex Avery, if you ever get a chance to watch a Tex Avery cartoon, and as long as you've got a little bit of thick skin and aren't a, what's the term the kids use these days? Snowflake. It's funny shit. That Tom and Jerry is my absolute all-time favorite, and Warner Brothers is hers. I never really watched them that much, but
I liked them both, but I was definitely partial to Warner Brothers. Kill the wabbit, kill the wabbit, kill the wabbit, kill the wabbit.
So work down the list for your own self. So what was next?
There's that lady I told you about. Anyway, sorry.
Podcast. Stay focused.
I can't. Squirrel. So yes. Also, were you like a Jetsons guy?
No,
Flintstones,
I didn't. I couldn't get into the Jetsons or the Flintstones.
I liked the Flintstones and the Jetsons up until they started bringing in the extraneous characters.
Oh, that little space alien. He was fucking irritating.
He was kind of annoying.
Yeah.
And then the Flintstones brought in the caveman.
Captain Caveman?
God damn, no.
You know the Flintstones were cavemen.
No. But it was like a little like I can't remember his name. I remember Captain Caveman. Captain Caveman. And
I couldn't get into him.
And I liked Dastardly and Muttley.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah. I remember the fucker laughed like a maniacal fucking like he did some drugs.
He did.
Yeah.
I actually wanted to have
Drugs.
2 dogs named Dastardly and Muttley.
Really?
Yeah. When I first found Sweetie, I named her Muttley, but she was not responding to that at all. And then it turned out she responded to Sweetie. So.
That same kind of era that you're talking about, the 60s, that Hanna-Barbera came to kind of rule that era. And, there was a whole clump of cartoons that I used to really fucking dig. So there was Space Ghost. And
Mr. Magoo.
He might have been before. I don't remember. The only thing I remember of Mr. Magoo is that I was watching him on my grandmother's TV when they shot fucking Pope John. No. When it was either when Pope John Paul I died or when Pope John Paul II got shot. I can't remember which. But they cut into Mr. Magoo and I was fucking irate. It was bullshit.
Well, understandable.
But that 60s era, Space Ghost, Johnny Quest, but the number one for me was the Herculoids. I'd made Melody.
Was that 60s?
Yeah. It was like, it only had like a 3 or 4 year run, kind of like Star Trek from the mid to late 60s. And this family was awesome.
No, okay. Can I tell you my impression of them? Because I've never seen them
No,
before.
because I'm gonna spell out the basics for our listeners of what the Herculoids were, and then you can go on. So the Herculoids were everything like a 12-year-old kid would think is awesome. It was a family of space barbarians that had an entire planet to themselves, mom, dad, and son.
Sounds kind of nice right now, honestly, having a planet to myself.
Mom, dad, and son. All of them were triple fucking dumb. No, I take that back. The wife was not dumb.
The wife was the only one who solved everything. She solved everything.
She was smart. The kid was too curious. The dad, he had this cool fucking, was it a laser slingshot or a laser whip? Okay, something barbaric but also somewhat sci-fi. Okay, and I never realized it before, but he was unable to use contractions. Because he would always say cannot, will not.
Yes.
He spoke very properly.
This was my discovery, by the way.
But then they had a whole family of creatures with them. They had a giant made out of rock. They had a dragon that shot, I forget what the dragon did.
Laser somethings or others.
I think lasers. They had this like big old armored hippo looking dude with a snout that shot little fucking molten pellets. And then they had these 2 dudes that were really not much more than like Jello. What were they called? Oh shit.
See what happens? Like you can't remember the names of any things when you put on the spot.
But he had all these cool creatures.
It was like Ugg and Glug or something like that.
Fuck. Anyway, and they could, they were elastic, so they could, wrap around a bad guy and trap him to a tree. But there was always the premise for everything was that there was something ancient that woke up or came back from space to the planet that wanted to recapture the planet by any means necessary, and the Herculoids would kick their ass.
Yeah.
It was everything, and the mom was fucking hot. She was a MILF. Okay, so it was everything
Until she talked, her voice was really irritating.
Not as irritating as his, but it was everything a little boy wanted. And we found every possible episode on YouTube that there possibly was and watched them all. I mean, it certainly wasn't all 3 or 4 seasons, but that was our Sunday morning cartoons, and I get a little fucking cartoon boner.
I got this hankering to start watching cartoons on Saturday mornings again, but Saturday mornings are out because I work. And so we were like, well, let's do Sunday morning cartoon ritual. And so that's now our little rituals. We watch just a little bit because we don't have a lot of time before we leave the house, but we take about a half hour and watch some Sunday morning cartoons.
And it's during that time now that we go to her, like one of her favorites ever. But real quick, let me just say this. I'm going to be 48 in a month. Your birthday's coming up. And I can't speak for Melody. You correct me if I'm wrong. I have never not watched cartoons.
I love cartoons.
Because just as I was transitioning from, like into my teens to where I wouldn't watch cartoons, it was when that whole era of, how would you say, irreverent cartoons, starting with like The Simpsons and then Ren and Stimpy, and finally coming into today's era of Family Guy
Well, those are adult.
Hold on. South Park and Archer, okay, they are adult,
They're
but the baseline under all of them is that they're irreverent in a way that cartoons never were until the late 80s, early 90s.
Right.
So just as they were coming up, just as I was getting out of that age where normally a kid would stop watching the cartoons, they came up and it re-grabbed my interest, okay, and then I found myself with children, and I always watched cartoons with them, and I'll talk about those in a second.
Well, then I think part.
So I've never not watched cartoons.
Well, I think part of the reason why I like the cartoons that I like is they were designed knowing that the parents were also watching.
Yeah.
So there was something in it for the kids, but like most of the jokes were kind of highbrow, and you didn't really get them as a kid. You got like there was something funny there, but you didn't really get most of the highbrow jokes. But as an adult, you can rewatch these things and be like, ha, I did not see that as a kid.
Warner Brothers, Looney Tunes was better at that than Hanna-Barbera, Tom and Jerry were, but it always existed in those cartoons because you got to remember, people were seeing cartoons as a family when they'd go to a multi-feature film. Like I said, a short film, a cartoon, a newsreel, the main feature, you know, so they had to engage the adults because the adults were stuck in the fucking theater with their kids.
Yeah.
So that's, you know, we grew up on that. When cartoons became solely the realm of kids in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, they lost that motivation to lure in the parents. And then when the irreverent cartoons came out, it grabbed a new audience, and I just kind of flowed from one into the other.
Yeah, but I'll tell you about the Herculoids.
Herculoids are the fucking best.
Here was my, because I'd never seen them before he showed it to me. So here's my take. Okay, so you've got this buff, he kind of looks like He-Man.
A little bit.
Dad. He's got the page boy too going on. That was like a thing with buff, half naked guys. They just walk around with page boy haircuts back then. And then the wife who wore a bikini, as women do, just in general, they just walk around wearing bikinis.
Well, they should.
And then there was this buff, prepubescent boy who looked like he was probably on steroids, just walking around, also with a page boy haircut. That was just, you know, because he was going to grow up to be a buff, half-naked man with a page boy haircut. That's how that works. And these Ugg and Glug guys, or whatever they were called.
The blobs, the white blobs.
My impression of them was the illustrator took a day off, and they brought in somebody who didn't know how to draw, and that's all they could draw. They were just like, nah,
no,
okay, that's a character.
You're out of your mind. They were the comic relief.
But like they look like there's nothing to them. It's just a big outline colored white with two dots in it for eyes. So that was like the illustrator took the day off that day.
No, it was by design. They were the minimalist. You know, this is the era of fucking Giacometti, okay, and Warhol. They were the minimalist. Yes.
Yes, dear. That's what it was.
See, brains.
Illustrator took the day off. So, and then the wife with the annoying voice would try to be the demure female, and she'd be like, "Oh my!"
But she was always the voice of reason.
Oh yeah, she'd be like, "Oh my, what is happening? Save me, darling!" And then it would, you know, he wouldn't be doing a very good job of saving her, so she'd go, "Okay, look, this is what's happening, and this is what you need to do. All right, okay, darling, save me." And so then he would go off and be all muscly and steroidy and save everybody and the little, and so there would be a lot of lasering of things and
kicked ass.
Yeah.
So now on Sunday mornings, we dive in deep into your favorite.
So I have two favorites of all time besides the Warner Brothers. One of them is Danger Mouse, and I don't know how popular Danger Mouse was in this country.
I never heard of it till you.
So it's a British cartoon, but it was played here, I believe, on Nickelodeon.
But it was from like the early 80s, right?
90s?
Something like that.
Something like that. Not early 80s. 90s, I want to say. But it was here in the 90s, and it's a British cartoon, and anyone who's never been to Britain and was a little kid would just be like, a lot of the stuff would go over their head because they would not have any idea about any of the land. I mean, there's a lot of visual jokes. Like, they live in like a little like...
There's a lot of puns.
There's tons of puns.
Which is up her alley.
Yep. And
a lot of the background animation is very akin to Monty Python. Terry Jones's animation from the Flying Circus.
Yeah. And it's very quick-witted, and they talk fast. So even if you are a quick-witted child, you may not get all the jokes just because they're talking so fast a lot of the time. That the jokes are just like boo, 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 boo.
So Danger Mouse is a mouse.
Danger Mouse is a mouse.
secret agent
who does like jumping push-ups on one fingertip.
Yeah. And he's got a sidekick.
And he's got this sidekick named Penfold.
Who
who's my favorite. I love Penfold. Lee thinks Penfold is useless.
Penfold is fucking useless.
Penfold
he doesn't
is
do
awesome.
shit except have to get saved.
No, he says, "Oh, crumbs," which is very important.
He doesn't know how to drive.
No, listen, he saved, remember today? He saved the day because he ate lollipops, and then they took his lollipop instead of the bad luck
Did
jam.
you hear what you just said? They took it.
Yeah, they took
He didn't do it.
But he saved, if it hadn't been for Penfold's lollipop, they would still be having bad luck to this day.
Penfold's fucking useless.
Penfold's awesome.
I like Colonel.
Crumbs.
I like Colonel K.
He does a really good Colonel K imitation.
Colonel K is they're like.
He's like their, so like.
He's the one that sends him on missions.
What's the, when in
He's
Star
the commanding
Wars,
officer.
Yes, Star Wars. They had like the guy who'd show up on the. Was it Star Wars? What am I thinking of?
Spaceballs.
Spaceballs. Haha. Spaceballs.
Kind of the same thing.
Well, it's based on Star Wars. So, because I've only seen technically 2 Star Wars in my entire life. But so you have like the guy who comes up and he's
a
like
chinchilla.
the leader. He's a chinchilla,
He's
but
a
you would
chinchilla.
never know he was a
But
chinchilla.
he has
Mutton chops.
the 19th century mutton chops, which like these big flaring fucking sideburns, which skip the chin, and he has no beard, and then they come up into a mustache. And it's, very good, Ginger Mouse. Yeah, good show.
You're very good at that. And then
it cuts to the fucking, he's Colonel K, but it cuts to a portrait of him, and he's wearing like an 18th century Commodore or Admiral's hat. And so I'm not sure really what branch of the British services he was in. It's very confusing.
But here's the thing. Apparently they recently brought Danger Mouse back and
It
redid
sucked. We watched
and
it
was
once.
Terrible.
Anytime they take a classic cartoon, whether it's Danger Mouse from England in the 80s or 90s, or Tom and Jerry from the 40s,
So disappointing.
and update it, it sucks
So
sweaty
bad.
fucking balls.
Please don't do that.
Don't ever.
Don't do
yeah,
it.
don't
Yeah.
ever.
And the new Danger Mouse is clearly not for adults. It's only for children.
See?
And it's and the animation is just nothing like it was. And it's just really poorly done.
And you've got another favorite.
I do. I have another favorite, which Lee has not gotten into yet. Like he's watched it twice with me,
And I don't think I heard of it until you.
It's The Tick. The Tick is so droll and dry and but awesome. I love The Tick. And there have been also 2 live action versions of The Tick. And one of them was done back in early 2000s maybe. And it was with, I forget the guy's name, but the guy who played Elaine's boyfriend on Seinfeld. You would recognize him if you saw him. But he played the Tick, and he was awesome. He was perfect. We should watch. You would actually probably like that.
Maybe.
Anyway, so well done. And then they did another one very, very recently on Netflix. I think they just went into the 2nd season of it. And I watched 1 episode of the 1st season, and it just seemed really dark for The Tick, and so I couldn't get into it, but I might have to give it another chance. I couldn't get into it the way that I got into the other one. It seemed to be well done. It was just very dark, and I don't feel like The Tick is a dark show. So
like I saw, I was saying that, my kids are 7 years apart. Ryan is 26 right now. Corinne is 19. So, Jesus, that's 25 years, just a quarter century of additional cartoons that I got to enjoy.
Well, these guys on your shirt.
Well, we'll get to them. I didn't wear this shirt's no accident today. But so both my kids spanned the SpongeBob era, and it was hard for me to get into SpongeBob because
I've never seen SpongeBob.
he's fucking irritating, okay? But
He seems irritating.
he had his moments, okay? But with Ryan, our favorite one that I can remember, there was a few, but the one I remember was Rocko's Modern Life. Okay, this was either Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon, and Rocko, it was all set in Australia. Rocko was a little wallaby, okay, and he had a friend, Heifer, that was a cow, and he had another friend who was a turtle, but I forget his name. And they would just have various misadventures in modern life, trying to get jobs and dates and stuff like that, and hijinks would ensue. That was a fun one. And then I think I probably watched, I don't know that I watched more with Corinne, it's just that because it's more recent, they're fresher in my memory. One of our favorites was, I should call her right now. I can't remember the name of it. We'll come back to it. But the 2 main ones, there was a cute and fun one. Chowder. Yeah. So it was this imaginary world, not on Earth, and all the characters were really cute, and everything in their little town had to do with cooking. Everybody was a cook or a chef or a baker.
Sounds like my kind of town.
Okay. And everybody was involved in the food and restaurant business, and every character in every character in the cartoon had a food name. The main character, this little boy, his name was Chowder. Okay. His some of the other characters were there was a a big like doofus character who was like a sous chef, and his name was Schnitzel. Okay. And then they had this very strange other character who was just a fart cloud. He was just a fart cloud with eyes, and his name was Kimchi. That was a cute one that Corinne and I used to watch. But there was two others that we absolutely loved. One of them was this t-shirt. So, regular show, okay? Regular show started off, I forget the creator's name, but these motherfuckers have done more than their fair share of dope, okay? Because it was a black and white cartoon that they used to pitch the actual cartoon, I think, to Cartoon Network. And these two characters, so real quick, the characters, this guy just Pops, he just has a giant head. That's his only thing, okay? Skips is a giant, ancient, super wise gorilla who skips everywhere, okay?
That's awesome. I want to hang out with
That's
him.
Muscle Man. He's like Frankenstein, and he's not as strong as he thinks he is, okay? That's Benson. They all work on a golf course.
He also has a giant head.
He doesn't have a giant head. He's a living gumball machine.
Of course
Okay.
he is.
I forget what the story is with this little ghost. And then
Apparently he likes heavy metal, though.
the two main characters were Rigby, who's a raccoon, and Mordecai, who was a blue jay.
Mordecai.
Okay.
Well done.
That's a biblical name, but I forget who he was. Old Testament. Anyway, in the original pitched cartoon, Mordecai and Benson.
The Blue Jay and the Bubblegum Machine.
Yes, they're just regular dudes that work the graveyard shift at a gas station, and it's called.
So they're just a regular living gumball machine and a regular Blue Jay.
No, they're regular dudes.
They're
humans.
actual guys.
Please, the man is talking right now.
Where?
Right here.
Where?
Listen.
What man?
These are just regular human dudes, and they eat some fucking pot brownies. Okay,
they're
they
not
work.
these
Listen. They're humans. I don't know what part of human you don't understand. They're humans. They eat some fucking wicked fucking pot brownies or something. Oh no, they're pot brownies, but they forgot that there's actually LSD in them. Okay, so they start hallucinating. One that he's a living gumball machine. One that he's a fucking blue jay. And then the cops come in and hilarity ensues because they're working at a gas station.
It all makes sense.
It's called 2 in the AM PM, and it's brilliant. But the cartoon was all sorts of fun. And then the other one that was at the same time was called Adventure Time. This actually might be a very, very close second to Tom and Jerry for me.
You're a little yellow guy from last week.
Yes. So, the creator, Pendleton Ward, clearly played a lot of Dungeons and Dragons when he was a kid. Because you could see, if you watch the cartoon long enough, you could see the influences. But it wasn't dark the way a D&D game can be with, just death and dragons and monsters. It was really cute. So the main character, Finn, so there was a war on planet Earth that actually split the planet. A chunk came off, and the remaining planet is called the planet Oo, okay? And the creatures which inhabit Oo are very strange. Everything from rainicorns, which is a unicorn that can fly and leaves a trail of rainbows behind it.
That's awesome.
Okay. There's an entire kingdom of people that have lemon heads. Okay, hence all the ones that have been showing up at home. Mm-hmm. All right. Finn is fostered by a family of golden retrievers who have the ability to stretch out and, have like elastic arms or become as tall as a fucking mountain.
How do I get fostered by a family of golden retrievers? Because I would like to make that happen.
But all jokes aside, the creativity in this was really, really ingenious, and it was a really fun one to watch. And I am super, super into that one. So was Corinne.
And I can't think of any, other than like the Simpsons and stuff, I can't think of anything recent that's particularly good.
See, I think for me, already being predisposed to cartoons, loving them so much already, it was a perfect fit when I had kids, and I just sat and watched the cartoons with them and enjoyed them myself. Because I think there's, particularly with this one and Adventure Time, there was an element of them that was once again being written and produced with adults in mind.
Yeah.
Okay, see, like the 60s, 70s, 70s and 80s, it was just for kids, and the cartoons of themselves for kids were fucking lame. Okay, but then when they started, for whatever reason, adding things in that adults could enjoy. I mean, this one was fucking weird. Okay,
So this one was it was based entirely on the hallucination of two guys who did LSD.
No, that was the pilot. Then it took on a life of its own as the cast of characters you see here. Okay, but you know, the cartoons now, I can't speak for right now because I'm once again out of the loop, which is why either my kids need to get busy giving me grandkids or you need to plug out a couple of puppies for me.
Happening right now.
Yeah.
Incubating them as we speak.
And so that I can watch cartoons again. Plus there's the whole thing where we need like cable. But so of all the, starting with The Simpsons and going through the ones that I mentioned, Ren and Stimpy and Family Guy and South Park and all that, were there any of the more modern adult irreverent cartoons, Bob's Burgers, that you enjoyed?
I mean, I do like The Simpsons.
Do you?
I do. And I like Family Guy.
I like the cartoon strips that Matt Groening used to do prior to The Simpsons called Life and Hell.
You know, I love those.
I like those a lot more than The Simpsons themselves.
You know where The Simpsons started, right?
In Life and Hell.
No, it was the Tracy Ullman show.
Oh, the Tracy Ullman show. Yeah. That's right. It was a short cartoon in there. I forgot all about that.
Which I also loved, the Tracy Ullman show.
I never really super got into it.
I liked
Did you ever watch Archer? Archer was an absolutely dysfunctional, narcissistic, alcoholic, womanizing secret agent.
He sounds awesome.
He was awesome, and the cartoon was brilliant. Okay,
they made a cartoon of it, or was it a cartoon?
It was a cartoon. That's just all it was. And because it was really brilliant, there was a lot of references to everything from popular culture to classic literature, Melville, you name it. And it was really, really fun. And everybody in the cartoon was fucking everybody else. It was awesome. And the first two, and maybe a part of the third season, were brilliant. And I got away from them for whatever reason, and then came back to it. And I don't know, it really, in my opinion, it lost its steam. But Archer was, of all the irreverent ones, for me, it was tied first with South Park. For me, South Park, I think the brilliance of that one is that no one is safe. That show's been on the air for over 20 years, and every episode of every season, they go after somebody. And I love it. Even groups that I've been a part of. And I think it's hilarious. No one is fucking safe when it comes to the South Park writers.
Well, I also really like, I want to say it's Ren and Stimpy, and it's not Ren and Stimpy. It's a mouse and a bigger mouse. We were just watching a show.
Pinky and the Brain.
Pinky and the Brain. Thank you. See what happens? I can't think of anything if I have to think of it. I will think of it at 2 in the morning. I will know the names of all those characters I forgot the names of at 2 in the morning. Anyway, Pinky and the Brain. I like them. I really like Pinky and the Brain.
I remember them, and I probably watched them a little bit, one or two. I think that was more like Ryan's era of cartoons than it was mine.
Very fun.
Ren and Stimpy, I love them because those fuckers, that is the product of like somebody frying on acid.
Oh my God, they were doing so many drugs when they did Ren and Stimpy.
And I mean, come on, who thinks of a Chihuahua that's clearly smoking too much crystal meth and talks like Peter Lorre? That was brilliant. Brilliant.
I couldn't get that into Ren. I liked them. They were fine.
Oh, I loved them.
But I didn't get that into Ren and Stimpy. I don't know.
What about, let's go back again. Did you dig Woody Woodpecker?
I did. Woody Woodpecker and Tom and Jerry and all that stuff, it was all kind of in the same, like, those were second to the Warner Brothers for me. Warner Brothers took all. They were the best.
Did you ever dig any anime?
Nah, I never got into it. I never really watched it.
I watched some. And they're good.
There's apparently an anime that we're supposed to watch, according to my client Alexandra. Hi Alexandra, if you're watching. She recommended one I don't remember the name, but it's basically they're animals in a class, and there's like a wolf, and he has a crush on a rabbit, and is constantly like fighting with himself over whether or not he wants to love the rabbit or eat the rabbit, and this whole thing. So anyway, it's apparently very well done, and apparently we should watch it at some point.
There was an anime put out by the big Studio Ghibli, which is the name of that puts out all the biggest animes, still does as far as I know. And there was one called Ponyo, and I don't know what the fuck Ponyo was. Ponyo was a strange little yellow creature, I think a fish, I'm not sure. And my ex-wife and kids both made me watch it, and I think they made me watch it only partially because they loved it. I think they did what you do, and they put it on, and then the three of them watched me watch it.
Well, watching him watch stuff is more fun than watching stuff. If you ever get the chance to watch anything with us, I highly recommend just watching him, because it's a lot more fun, honestly.
What was the last thing that we watched that my reactions were priceless?
Some movie we were watching, I don't remember. Oh, the movie,
it was the
Buddy Moon. There was well, we were just talking about this last week.
Yeah.
With
homeboy gets dumped by his fiance days before the wedding.
Yeah.
So instead of canceling was it the Appalachian Trail or Pacific? It was Pacific Crest Trail.
Yeah.
They were gonna hike a portion of the Pacific Crest Trail for their honeymoon. So instead of canceling the hike, his buddy, who is this, how the fuck would you?
He's awesome.
How would you describe him?
German. Very German.
Can you flesh it out a little bit?
Oh God, why can't I remember anybody's name today? He was from Pitch Perfect. God damn it. And he's hilarious.
He does everything to make this hike worse than it should be.
But he's not trying to. He's trying to be. Flula!
That was close.
Okay, I feel better. Flula! I love Flula. He's so fun. And he was just, like, he showed up, the guy was having had just been dumped, and he showed up in a sunshine costume to make him happy. Come on!
I would have beaten, first of all, I wouldn't have a friend like this.
That's why you're a horrible person.
I would have beaten the living fuck out of him.
You're a bad person.
The second he fucking cut my toothbrush.
It's Flula. Mm-hmm. And the toothbrush thing was a little stupid.
But apparently, as we watched it, my face contorted like the entire
film. Every time he watched, he was like...
Yeah.
Like the whole movie.
I think I get into movies or cartoons, movies, it doesn't matter, shows too much, and I can't
passionate.
I can't separate myself from what's happening in them. And I think to myself, why the fuck is he doing that? Why is he doing that? What the fuck is his problem? You know? And so
Flula, anyway. If you're out there, I love you, and I would never punch you in the face.
If you acted like you did in the movie,
I would never punch you in the face, Flula.
Anyway, I think we've pretty well maxed out what we can say about cartoons.
Yeah.
Plus,
this was fun though.
My Viagra's kicking in, so we need to get home, take care of business.
Oh, for the love of Pete. All right.
So.
Well, okay. Well, I enjoyed this. I enjoyed talking about.
You're gonna enjoy it more.
No, for fuck's sake. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, well, I hope you, if you watch this, why don't you comment to us about what your favorite cartoon is, because maybe we'll learn about a new one.
Or don't, because I don't give a fuck.
I do. I care about you, and Lee is an asshole.
Next week, unless we have some new epiphany, we are going to have the debate of debates.
Are we?
It'll take up some portion of next week's episode.
And yet I will win.
You wish. Chicago versus New York pizza.
New York pizza is spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. It's
You're a
New
fucking
York.
Godless heathen if you think that's actually pizza.
Spoiler. You've never even been to New York. Anyway, we're going to talk about that next week.
Mm-hmm. You've never? Oh yeah, you did.
All right, kids, rock on. Be that guy.
Have a good week, Jagoffs.
All right. Oh, I'm going to show you. Here's your moment of baby for the day. Can you see her? Hi, baby. All right. Bye.